Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. It's a wee bit after midnight here in South Florida. Just got back from the Miami Heat draft watch party. Shout out to everybody who tuned in to the WQAM stream with myself, Solana. Miami Heat, 15th overall pick. They take Kel'el Ware, center out of Indiana. Proud of this for a couple of reasons. Now, Solana told me, he's like, hey, give me an early prediction. And I had mentioned Kel'el Ware. I think after the top 10 is when he told me to make my prediction. So a lot of the guys had, there were a handful of guys who I think the Miami Heat fan was, interested in that were gone. The Zach Edey's of the world were gone. You had, Dillingham was gone. And so you got to that top 10. I was like, it feels like on all the best available that Kel'el Ware is a bit of a reach, but they end up taking him just because. And I didn't know that he was a reach. I'm just saying, like, based on the best available, he was down as opposed to some of the other names that were there. Like Jared McCain got taken to him, Dalton Knecht got taken after, De Silva were taken after him, but they were all listed on best available above him. But it was interesting because, I didn't do many draft previews in the list, but I did a handful, and he was one of the guys because I saw that the Herald had reported that he did a workout with the Miami Heat, and, we did a little bit of dove into his stuff of what he had done in college, and I was like, this guy seems like he's got a lot of talent. I was just wondering about the idea of the Heat. What is the vision for him, and like, do they anticipate playing him a lot? And lo and behold, he ends up being the pick at number 15, and I like the pick. And I said this coming in, like, look, I'm going to trust this front office and what they do from a drafting standpoint, just simply because they've earned it, frankly. I mean, they should earn the trust of the fan base. That department in particular. We could sit here, quibble out trade talk and future of guys. Their drafting has been pretty pristine as of late, with the 2021 draft being like the only blemish you could put on the record. But they've been pretty damn good lately. And Kel'el Ware was interesting just because I think as Heat fans and people who cover the team, you all recognize that this is a league that is getting bigger and that the team needs a little bit more size. They need a little bit more oomph. They have not been able to find the perfect partner next to Bam necessarily, and they haven't really been able to fill that void behind Bam when he's off the floor. And so you have a guy here in Kel'el Ware who has offensive skills but also can block the holy hell out of the basketball. One of the things that really stood out from him when, I was looking at him was the fact that he averaged almost 2 blocks a game at Indiana. Dude's got wingspan for days, 7-footer, can shoot a little bit, projected, he showed an ability to shoot, though he didn't shoot that much, but he has shown that he's got that touch. And Adam Simon actually had some quotes today after the draft. He says, Khalil's a 3-and-D center. It's not easy to find centers who can play out on the perimeter offensively, but also be able to defend with his ability to shot block and defend in the post for us. And for that was really appealing. And quite frankly, really the only knock that anybody seems to have on Kel'el is a question of motor, desire. These are these weird red flags that, kind of pop up through the draft and people talk themselves out of them. And I got to tell you, if you're a Miami Heat guy and they dub that you'll fit into this. Now, I don't know where he was on their board. Maybe out of the Dillinghams and the Edey's and all that, maybe he was, 15th out of 15th, and this is the guy that was there. But I can tell you that if they don't think that you're a fit for the most part and you're going to be a goof off, like, I guess Michael Beasley notwithstanding, they're going to, I think that they believe they can get that out of you. And the environment that he's going to be around is going to be interesting. I don't know how many people saw this, but we were at the draft party today, and he actually did an interview with Biamonte and Uptown Dale, and the first thing that he had mentioned he's like, oh, but they asked him about playing with Bam, and like he seems very excited about that. And what he said immediately out of that was that that he thinks that they can be a scary duo. And then we got him for a little bit, and this is what he had to say about that.
If you think about it, me and Bam's able to do, really everything. He's able to play on the perimeter. He's able to put the ball on the floor. He can shoot the ball, get into his move, especially with him, being strong down there. If they do try to go, double on him, I'm wide open for the lob. All you got to do is just throw it up in the air. So I feel like once we do get that chemistry down, it's going to be, like I said earlier, it's going to be scary.
That's Goosey's right there. And the thing is, Solano's doing the show with me, and he asked him, what can they expect out of you? He's like, wins. And I got to be honest with you, dude, for a guy who is labeled as he was given all the right Heat culture stuff, like he was already programmed already. So I'm intrigued by it. I liked the pick, and he wasn't necessarily my top guy, I would say. And as we said in the lead up to this, I think everybody obviously were big Devin Carter guys, but he ends up getting scooped up 2 picks beforehand. Bub Carrington, some mention to him. Nikola Topic, going back to the survey, well, he was taking 2 picks. So a lot of Heat fans were, looking at him. Edey was obviously intriguing. He goes in the top 10. Dillingham goes in the top 10. Ron Holland went top 5. And so you look at the Jared McCains or the Tristan Da Silvas, like, listen, no knock. Maybe those guys will be good. I don't know. But if you're going by need on top of projection of talent, I just like the swing from the Miami Heat. I respect it. Go and get a guy who is that size in a league that you're going to need a little bit more size. And then, I saw some of the listeners fairly say, well, what happens to Jovic in this standpoint? Like, where does Nico play here? I'm going to be very surprised if Ware is able to get a starting job out of camp. I just am. But I will say what people got to recognize is while he's not old because he's only 20, he's also not a baby. He's got a couple of college seasons under his belt. So when they bring in Nico, Nico is a child. He's 18 years old, turning 19. And he's a beanpole. And then they wanted to physically build him out. He also dealt with a back injury in his rookie year as well. So he really didn't have a shot in hell. And I think with Kel'el, I definitely can see him having a role on the Miami Heat right away and providing something that they need and fill a void. And, he had this quote that I read on Barry Jackson's column that had talked about his role with Bam on and off the floor. I'm trying to find what the hell. Oh, I'm sorry. This is an Irish column, but he was telling this to reporters afterwards. He says he's going to give us versatility on both ends, and I think his skill set fits us. The things that he does well that Coach Spo's going to be able to use. I think it's a great fit. He's able to block shots, defend the rim, and shoot threes. He has great touch in the post. And a skill set that will be great to play with Bam as well as when Bam is off the court. And I just think from my standpoint, that's great. They need to figure that out. The reports coming out that Bam is going to be signing his extension. You got to find, the right running mate with him. And, to people wonder, well, what happens to Nico? Hell, man, play him too? This is like, you have Nico who is going to get out there on the different player, going to get out there, not exactly a defensive force, but showed his ability to shoot as well. And, I think stood his ground defensively. So, you stick him out there and call me crazy. We're in a world where the league is getting bigger. You look at the size of the Denver Nuggets, the Boston Celtics, and to go a lineup where you have Nico and Bam and Ware and Jimmy out there, and DeLon Wright, who the hell knows? But I just think I think that it was quite obvious that the Heat went into this draft knowing that they needed to bolster up their size, and they did. This is the quote from Barry Jackson on his Twitter account. Adam Simon on Ware's offensive game. He says a lot of it was in the post and a lot of it was lob threat options. He didn't have a lot of three-point attempts, but he was a threat there. We feel like his shot is good now, and obviously we're going to work on him to get it even better. You look at his stroke, it's very fluid, very easy. Heat are really good at that too. Like if they think there's a talent there, I think they just feel like they got a lot of good things that they can work with him. And, not to judge a guy off of some brief interviews right then they're out, I just think he had the right answer and attitude on these things too. So we'll see. I mean, like that stuff's all going to pan out. I can't wait to watch him in Summer League. I'm looking forward to seeing somebody with his athletic ability and, some of the size things that he can do. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like in the Summer League. But it's an exciting one, man. It's an exciting. I think it's a fun pick. And I don't really think if you got a lot of complaints about it, I would say maybe give it a little bit of patience. I don't know if the Heat are going to necessarily get burned on it unless we're in a situation where Ware is Precious Achiuwa 2.0 and Jared McCain just went to Philly and he is CJ McCollum to Tyrese Maxey, like to Tyrese Maxey's Damian Lillard, like unless that happens. But I think I'm in on it. I'm in on it. I like Kel'el Ware. I love the Kryptonian thing that he had. I asked him today, as a Kryptonian, what's the superpower you want? Fly, baby. That's what he likes. He wants, and I think we'll get a lot of chances to see that. So looking forward to day 2, see where the Heat go. They got another pick in this weird 4:00 day 2 draft for the NBA. And there weren't many trades. The only thing that happened that stood out today, the Wizards traded with the Blazers and went right in front of the Heat. So they took, who the hell did they take? They took they took Bub Carrington. He's going to the Wizards. And then I wasn't really surprised with any of the topics. I think the only one that anybody said was kind of like a wild card was Holland. We talked about, I'm like looking at the guys who do we talk about on the Heat? Holland we talked about for sure. Dillingham, Edey, Topic, Carter. So what is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 guys. Yeah, and I would say out of those 5 guys, Ware, like I would have taken, in all honesty, probably 4. I don't know about like Topic is a project. And so, and you would have had to redshirt him. And you're kind of going back to that. Well, I do feel like that, instead of getting another guard that's a project to put the hands in, it just feels like I don't know, it just feels like a younger move. And with that spot that he landed with Oklahoma City, that feels like a perfect fit for them. And for the Heat, I think Ware is a perfect fit for them. So let's see where this future Heat lifer's career goes. Oh, he is number 7. They announced that today. He's going to wear number 7, which I don't love. Like I want number 7 retired by Gogi, but I guess they've made their stance on that, and I'll have to respectfully disagree to respect it, but I will respect it, and hope that Kel'el Ware is so damn good in that number that one day it will be up in the rafters for him. But for now, let's just start with a great rookie campaign.